Welcome back, everybody. D Bougie 86 here again, and I'd like to welcome you all back to It Came from the 80s. I know the series has been on a long hold for a while, just balancing out YouTube life with personal life stuff. And with that being said, if you can tell by the sound of my voice, I've been kind of like on the run of sickness lately. That's why I haven't really been doing a majority of videos on my channel lately. But I can't hold that against me anymore, and it's time to start doing more content for you guys because you guys really appreciate you guys watching my videos and doing that stuff, and I want to do this series in particular for you guys because it's actually one of my favorite series on my channel. Now, with all that being said, without getting too personal, you know what I mean? Let's just get into this review for you guys. I got a film from 1981, which I've heard immensely about in my studies of film and film history. And it's actually from a director that I really enjoy his films, of the ones I've seen. Abel Ferrara, of course, director of two of my favorite films of all time, Bad Lieutenant and King of New York, which have their own like stance and stuff and style. And this one's up there with some of his best films, in my opinion. And that goes by the title of Miss 45. This film stars Zoe Lunn, who I didn't really know much about, but actually, the cool thing that she actually wrote the screenplay for Bad Lieutenant, which was really cool that I found that shit out, because that's one of my favorite films, and I never knew that a woman wrote that screenplay. Now, the main plot of this one, we're introduced to Zoe Lunn's character, Thana. She's like a mute who works for like a seamstress of this modeling, clothes modeling stuff agency for a clothes designer. And she lives her everyday life in the streets of New York and her, like, talk to the men on her way home and shit. Then one day, she ends up getting assaulted and raped, not once, but twice. And this event actually pushes her to the edge and thrives her and makes her go a little crazy at the same time, because she's like this lonely girl that lives in an apartment on her own. And what she ends up doing is going on a vigilante spree against everyday man and the society of this dark, gritty New York setting, and taking them out with a 45 caliber handgun. That's pretty much the main plot and where the film gets its title from. Now, my thoughts on this film. It's really well, because I heard a lot about this, and it's a film I wanted to see in Ferrara's library of films for a while. And the way it went about and shit, there's a lot of stuff that he uses in his other films that he took from this film experience, because it's one of his probably most controversial films, and also one of his earlier films from the 80s, before like Bad Lieutenant and King of New York came about. And you saw that like grittiness of New York still in his other films, even though like in King of New York and stuff, in the Bad Lieutenant, it's kind of like a more toned down, because New York was starting to clean up at that time period in the early 80s, the late 80s and early 90s. And this shows like the grittiness of New York setting and shit, with the griminess and the dirt in the nighttime shots, but it also has these immensely intense daytime shots, because one of the assaults actually happened to her in the daytime, which is an even scarier thought, because it's in broad daylight and no one comes to her aid and shit. So that shit really fucking scares the shit out of me. Because if you watched my channel and my reviews before, I'm not the really biggest fan of like rape and shit on film. But when it's done well and immensely terrifying, you could see it fucking hit home and stuff. And that really hit home with like me, because I personally know a few people that went through situations like this. And with that being said, it's intense and stuff because you never know how these situations would react to the person and the victim. And this film shows you that because the one doing the vigilantiness is the actual victim of these crimes. And with that being said, it's immensely well shot. Ferrara uses these great, like, gritty camera angles and these well done slow mo shots that really intensify the scenes. And also, there's also the thing with the character being mute because she goes through this everyday life and no one really knows what's on her mind and shit. She like hides it well and it goes crazy because she can't really tell no one this stuff that's going on with her. And it really brings out the mental part of the film and the claustrophobicness of this character. Now, with the shots and shit being good, the other thing that's really, really groovy about this film is its musical score done by John Dalyell. Delisle, I believe that's how you pronounce his last name. Probably butchered it, but whatever. And it has like this really like jazzy shit going on with it, like with these saxophones and like jazz piano shit going on. But it also has some cool like synth moments with like its tense moments, like when she goes out in the nighttime to do her vigilante justice. Like there's this cool like synth like pulsating part that comes in, and it really dwells into the tension of the film in those scenes. Yeah, this is a really. I'm shocked I actually never got to see this film beforehand because with Ferrara being one of my favorite directors, because he always dwells into like film subject matters and stuff that broaden his mind, but his mind as a filmmaker too, because he's a fan of like film also, and you can really show with like some of these films because this film really does like build off like the Death Wish films and especially the first one and Repulsion. That's two of the films that I could see really influenced this film, and you could really tell. And it's one of those films that puts those two films together and works beautifully, and it's a beautiful film to be seen, especially if you're fans of like revenge films in general. This is probably one of the best in the genre, in my opinion. And if I had to rate Miss 45, I'm going to give it a solid 10 out of 10. It's a well-made film with some great acting performance, especially by the main lead and the surrounding characters around her. And well filmed and well shot and well directed and well scored. It's a masterpiece, in my opinion, of filmmaking and style. And I highly recommend this release from Drafthouse Films. Highly entertaining film and really beautiful and well shot. It's a masterpiece. 10 out of 10 for Miss 45. Alright guys, that's it for It Came From the 80s. I'm glad I got to be doing reviews for you guys again on my channel. And as always, I'll probably be doing these on Mondays from now on because it's my usual day off and shit. So it will work out for my benefit to start pulsating some kind of reviews for you guys during the week, besides my body bags reviews on Wednesdays. And I'm gonna be thinking of like doing a few random reviews, like trying to choose a good day. Probably maybe I'll figure it out. I don't want to hold you guys up with your other videos and stuff. So as always, like, subscribe, and comment. And I hope to hear back from you soon. Peace out.